that there has been a steady, consistent stream of documentation from the institutional church trying to deal with this problem as it would arise century after century, age after age. And the general way that it was dealt with was dealing with the perpetrators, finding some way to limit or end their perpetration, acting out against them, penalizing them. But there was nothing ever done, no question about why they did what they did, the issue of mandatory celibacy, or why their superiors did not act as they should have acted. The abuse of vulnerable people has been a serious issue for centuries, but it has never resulted in a significant response, a deep, complex response into why. There have been punitive measures against the perpetrators for centuries. The whole thing went underground like a nuclear submarine in the mid-19th century and stayed a deep, dark secret and surfaced again in 1984. There had always been no incidences of dysfunctional priests preying on children, on minors, on women, on men. But the pattern and practice was basically the same the world over. The very few who reported it, the very few who came forward, who had the courage to do it, or were forced out of frustration to do it, what they saw was being dissed. They were dismissed, they were ignored, they were never appreciated for what had happened, and the perpetrator, he received geographic therapy. He was sent to somewhere else. And I have seen this so many times in the work I've done, primarily in the courts in the United States, in Ireland, in Canada, where the pattern and practice had been, until we changed it, we, the survivors, and we, the supporters, we made it happen so that that pattern and practice was broken. Why has there not been a significant response? Why has it only been looking at the perpetrators and not the system? Because the structure of the church has prevented this from happening. It's a monarchy. The Roman Catholic Church is theologically and canonically a hierarchy, and in practice it's a monarchy. It is run by one man, the Pope, who has supreme power. Each diocese is run by one man, the bishop, who has just about supreme power, answering only to the Pope. In the church, the Catholic Church, as in many other institutional churches, power is the currency. Power is what is important. Not so much money, not prestige, not the robes, although they're nice for some, but it's the power. In many ways, the church really is the body of Christ, the people of God. It's not just the hierarchy, the clergy, the guys in the robes, the people in the Vatican. The percentage-wise of the entire Roman Catholic Church, which is 1 million something or 1 billion something throughout the world, the percentage of clergy, priests and bishops, cardinals, and a pope are 0.00074%. That's not many. But in that little tiny, minuscule percentage, you have those few celibate males who run the entire operation and have been running that operation for centuries. Part of the big problem is that this church, the body of Christ, has in many ways been hijacked. And we really didn't know it and come to grips with it until this horrendous phenomenon of sexual abuse of the vulnerable came to the surface. And so that's what this is really about. It's not about the courts winning cases. It's not about dissident theologians, dissident priests, dissident bishops like Jeff and I. It's not about people who've not obeyed their vows or all this other kind of nonsense. It is primarily about power and a church that's gone off its rails. Imagine, and it's not difficult for any of us, we are dealing with the rape and the sexual molestation of children, of minors, of adults throughout the world by the most trusted men in their lives, the priests and the bishops, from the world's largest religious denomination, the world's largest organization, the world's oldest Christian denomination, the denomination that has the strictest moral, sexual, ethical code. And at the same time, there's this very, very dark side. And that dark side is not just dysfunctional clerics. That dark side is deeper and much more complex. It's why these clerics are tolerated, why the victims suddenly become the enemy, why there's such massive denial. There are so many questions, and there are no easy answers. But the answers that we do come up with are buried deep in the nature of this institution.